Hi, everybody. I'm here today with Amanda Giulia D'Agostino, and she's one of the yoga providers, I guess, for lack of a better term, for Alumnor. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing so well. How are you today, Jackie?
I'm fabulous. I'm really excited about getting to know all the different people that are going to be providing services with Alumnor, because I think it's just a fabulous place to be. I can't wait to see what all is involved.
Absolutely. No, it's such a great thing that both Lorianne and Amanda are offering to the community and to those of their chosen age demographic. So I immediately jumped on board when I spoke with Lorianne. I said, I think it's so, so great what you guys are doing and what you're offering, and what I can bring to the table might be a little bit different from what some other people can bring to the table. So it's going really well, and I can't wait for the launch.
Awesome. Yeah, that's it. Me too. So let's get into that a little bit. You do yoga, so let's start with a little bit of your background, how you got started, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So my whole journey kind of started in an interesting way. So I was a ballet dancer. So I was a ballet dancer from the age of 2 to about 16. And then I decided to go to regular high school. And with that, I stopped my ballet dancing. Then I took a couple years kind of just to find my way. And then yoga was presented to me. I was about 17 when I started with yoga. So it's been a little over 15 years now, not trying to age myself, but just did. So I've been practicing yoga for quite a few years on and off, based on just, level availability and what my fitness journey has taken me to. A couple of years ago, I suffered a pretty significant injury to my ankle, and had to get complete reconstructive surgery 3 times. Wow. So a little bit of a journey. And in 2020, I finished my last surgery in 2019, and I started getting back onto my fitness goals, working out consistently, started back with yoga. Of course, COVID happened. So then I kind of had to shift a little bit. So I started to find some online, YouTube yoga, started training online with my trainer. And through the course of working out with him, he would have me sometimes complete the warm-ups and the cool downs for the group. And I kind of enjoyed it. And I was like, wow, is this something that I could do? Because the warm-ups and the cool downs are very much aligned with yoga, the types of mobility exercises that you're doing to warm yourself up or cool yourself down. And so I had a chat and I said, do you think that this is something that I would be able to achieve? And right off the bat, he was like for it. He said, you should do it. And I started looking into different yoga schools. Sure enough, I came across the yoga school that I'm actually currently teaching for, Ananda Yoga School. And each time I would search, I would come back to Ananda. And so I reached out to one of my good friends who's a yoga teacher, and it turns out that's actually where she completed her certification. Wow. So it was like perfectly aligned at that point. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's give it a go. I had a chat with one of the directors, and we chatted for like a good hour, and I was like, this is it. And so I started my journey to become a yoga teacher in September 2020. And I completed the 200 level training. I got my certificate on December 31st, 2020. So it was like 2020 was a Wow. year of like reaching those fitness goals in the midst of a, global pandemic. And then I've been teaching with them now. So since mid-December. And now I'm actually in the midst of completing my advanced teacher training. So that's the 300 to potentially 500 level yoga teacher certifications. And that's globally recognized through Yoga Alliance. And with that, I'm also completing my Yoga Nidra training, which actually is going to be completed this weekend. So I'm super excited about that too. So a little bit of a lot going on right now, but it's been great. The opportunities that seem to be presenting themselves to me, I'm moving forward with trying not to overwhelm myself as well.
Yeah.
Because of course, when you're starting out, you want to say yes to everything, but knowing when to say no if something doesn't feel right, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And, when I was presented with this opportunity, I was absolutely this, I think it's such a great mode of communication, a great way for, like you said, for people to get to know us, not only just as a face and an introduction bio, but really what we're about and what we can offer.
Yeah, I think so. So you were saying the 200 level, 300, 500, those are hours that you have to do?
Yes. So the 200 level is 200 hours. And then if you transition into the 300 level, which is another 300 hours, and upon completion of that, there's some additional teaching hours that you need in order to achieve the 500 level. But it seems, based on how much I am teaching right now, because I'm teaching for 2 different studios and the wellness app, I should be able to achieve that hopefully by the time I'm done my 300 training, which is actually the end of June. So that's coming up soon too.
Wow, that's great. So there's a lot of different types of yoga, and you mentioned a couple of it, the Nidra, but for Alumnor, you're doing Hatha yoga and chair yoga, you said. Can you talk about them a little bit?
Absolutely. So Hatha yoga is a very fluid practice that's based on your breath. So there's 180 Hatha yoga poses. Wow. And the reason why I chose to train, in Hatha yoga is it gives you the opportunity to be creative with your practices. You can offer an artistic technique or an artistic experience to each and every practice. It doesn't have to be the same. Whereas with some other practices, it is, stringent in what poses you're going to be doing every single practice. So I fell in love with it because I'm more of a creative person. I was an art student. I was a ballet dancer. So that really spoke to me. And then with the chair yoga, that's actually something I brought to the table for Alumnor, because it was Lorianne that mentioned that there was an individual in the community that was looking to join Alumnor, and she has some mobility issues. So I said, hey, there's an option of doing some chair yoga. If she needs to be seated throughout, then that's something that I can bring to the table. We can do different stretching that you do while you're being seated, which is also another good opportunity for those who are working in the office or sitting all day. So not only can it be used for someone who may have some mobility or accessibility issues, but also for those who are sitting all day and maybe you want to take 5 or 10 minutes just to move your body and you don't have the time to take an hour class or a half an hour class. So that's something that I've also brought to the app. And then I'm also doing meditations as well. So I offer guided meditations, and right now we're doing them as like a nighttime meditation, maybe before bed, just to wind yourself down. And with this yoga nidra. So what yoga nidra is a yogic sleep. And 1 hour of a yoga nidra practice is equivalent to 4 hours in your deepest REM sleep.
Wow.
Now, this does not, I don't want to say that it takes away from your actual biological sleep, because you still should have that rested 8 hours. But if you complete this yoga nidra in the morning, in the evening, midday, you'll feel even more so refreshed and energized either after or maybe the next day. So those are the different things I'm bringing to the table right now.
That's kind of interesting. I go into flotation pods, like where you soak in the water, and they say that an hour in there is like 4 hours of sleep, and
it is very,
amazing.
very similar to that. Exactly.
Nice. So you're going to be doing videos that are going to be available. Are they a certain length, or are you going to have a variety of lengths?
So right now the yoga classes, they're 30-minute hatha classes. So you can get in, you can get out, you can still have time to make your dinner, still have time to do your laundry and go about your day, which is really nice. Because a lot of the time, you know, you're expecting to do a workout and it's an hour long. Maybe you don't have an hour to take. And the nice thing is too, even if you don't have that 30 minutes, you can pop it in. You can do maybe the first 10 minutes, maybe put it on pause, and then you can come back to it later when you have a bit more time, or break it up into segments. The chair yoga video that I uploaded is just over 20 minutes. And the meditations are going to be between 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay. And that's good. I mean, when you're relaxing to go to bed, that's what you need.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of people, it takes a little bit more time for things to calm down and to get out of your head a little bit.
Absolutely. And the good thing about meditation is it gives you that opportunity to really just take away all the other sensors and, you know, get rid of your phone, get rid of everything else that's going on, and maybe just listen to what's going on instead of necessarily, you don't need the visual when it comes to that. You really want to close down your eyes. You really want to just go inward and allow yourself to enjoy the experience.
I notice I tend to fall asleep when I do meditations. That's, you know, I close my eyes, I'm listening to it, and everything shuts down.
Absolutely. And that's perfectly normal. Some people will be very judgmental of themselves if they find themselves falling asleep during a meditation or perhaps during a yoga nidra, but it's completely normal. What's actually recommended is when you are meditating to do it when you're not feeling sleepy. So that's hard to say, of course, before you go to bed, but it is best suited to do when you're not sleeping. So perhaps choosing to do it in the morning or maybe midday, give yourself a little break, a little reset. But that's not to say don't stop your regular meditation schedule, because I would never want that.
And the other things you talk about that you're bringing in, you mentioned restorative yoga and Yin Yoga. I've never heard of either of them.
Absolutely. Okay. So I haven't yet completed or pursued the certification as of yet for either. That's something that I'm going to be working toward once I complete my yoga nidra and my 300 level. Again, so as not to overwhelm myself, there is so much that's out there that you can, you know, become certified in, should it suit your brand, should it suit your type of practice. So I have recently led a restorative class through the studio that I teach for right now. And I take restorative classes every week. Basically what it is a supported version of 7 or 8 different postures that you hold for about 5 minutes each.
Wow.
And you're using props, so a bolster, pillows, blankets, eye pillows, blocks, to feel completely supported and not as though you're working in the practice. It essentially is to tap into the parasympathetic system to completely relax the body and release any tensions that you're feeling, because you should feel no tension whatsoever in a restorative class. It's completely meant to rejuvenate the body. So after guiding that one class, which was actually within the last couple of weeks, I knew then and there, not only did I already love the practice to begin with, but after guiding it, I knew that would be something that I would like to pursue from my own knowledge base and to be able to offer that going forward. So that's
Sounds
a little
lovely.
bit. Yeah, it's great. It's so great. And I think honestly, this demographic will love that type of practice, because everything's so hustle bustle, so much going on. And sometimes you don't want to feel that you're doing a workout. You really just want to relax. You want to have an opportunity to fully wind down from your day. And I complete those practices Friday nights. And I think it's the perfect time of week to do that after a long work week. So yeah, that one's great. If you ever want to come to a class, let me know. I'll happily have you on as a guest.
That sounds wonderful. I never used to try yoga because I looked at it as something that needs a whole lot of balance, which I don't have. And it never felt like I was getting a workout, because I always expect to come out of something sweating and puffing and panting.
Absolutely.
I did try it one time, and the class that I picked to go into, I don't know what kind it was, but I spent a lot of time laying on the mat and stretching things, and oh, it felt wonderful. I said, hey, I could do this every week.
Yeah, it might have been a yin practice, to be honest, if you didn't go into too many postures. So what yin is similar to restorative in that it's about 8, maybe 9 postures, maybe even 7, a minimal amount, because you're holding them for a significant amount of time, some 5 to 7 minutes, dependent. But the one thing with yin is you're not supported. You're actually in sometimes a more difficult posture, and you're holding it for that amount of time, and you are feeling the tension. You are feeling discomfort, and you're breathing into that discomfort. The good thing about that practice, though, is there's so many benefits from doing that versus always moving so fluid, where you would in, potentially a hatha class or a vinyasa class. So that's definitely something that I look forward to diving into, and I'll have more updates as I move through that type of training. So I'm excited to be able to offer that.
Yeah. So in addition to the videos and things that are going to be available, I know Alumnor has the opportunity for various providers to offer services for a fee. Do you have something to offer in that regard?
So right now, if someone wants to do like a one-on-one session, if they don't necessarily feel comfortable just completing a yoga class by going onto the app or doing it on their own, whether they be beginner, intermediate, what have you, maybe they have a specific area that they want to work on. Maybe they have an injury. Now, I'm not saying I'm any sort of physiotherapist or I'm trying to replace that. I am absolutely not. And I'll happily refer to different practitioners in that nature. But if there are, certain limitations or modifications that maybe a one-on-one session to be able to work through those, that's definitely something that I would be able to offer, whether it be through Zoom, whether it be socially distant outside once the weather cooperates with us.
Exactly.
These April showers don't seem to be stopping. But no, that's definitely something that I look forward to be able to do and to offer. Like I said, I had a pretty significant injury for my ankle. So I suffered for quite a long time where I couldn't move into specific postures because of the limitations of the mobility. So being able to offer that is something that's important to me, just because that was something that I got to experience with my journey of my own healing and my own wellness. And I would love to be able to offer that in the future.
Oh, fabulous. And I think that's probably something that at least some people will be looking for, because they don't want to be in a class, maybe not right off the bat while they figure things out or whether they recover.
Exactly. And that's the interesting thing about yoga is in the Western culture, it seems to be all about the heat building and the sweating, and you want to make sure that you're getting a workout, or you want to be wearing those size 2, Lululemon pants and what have you. But really, that the asanas, which are the postures, is only one of the 8 limbs of yoga. There's so much more that goes into it, whether it's the spiritual aspect, the mental aspect, going inward. So that's more of what I bring to the table. It's not always about getting into a headstand. It's really about how yoga makes you feel and how you can move based on your body, based on your shape, your size. It doesn't matter. Yoga is for everybody and every body. And I am a firm believer of that. No matter your age, no matter anything that is associated with it, there's always something that you can do. And being able to offer modifications and differences of poses, whether you are using potentially a strap to offer yourself some added length, or a block to provide yourself with some added height to be able to align yourself in the posture. there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I think that's what's been ingrained in, unfortunately, in our society, is those are looked at as weaknesses, where really they should be honored as strengths, because you know that you might need to use something in order to achieve what you're looking to achieve. So I always like to offer a space that's supportive and welcoming, and where you don't feel intimidated by the practice, because it absolutely can be intimidating.
Yep, definitely. I've walked into a couple of different yoga classes and turn around and walk back out.
Yeah, you felt it yourself. And honestly, I can say that I felt it myself as well, even though I've practiced for very many years. When I first started, I was intimidated. I walked into a hot yoga studio, and, I was young. I was 18 years old. I was in peak health, peak fitness, and I was intimidated. There was people in, little sports bras and little shorts, and I was like in my full leggings and, a dry fit shirt. And I was so intimidated. I went to the back of the class, and I'm seeing these people up at the mirror at the very front of the class, and they're doing toe stands and they're doing headstands. And, I'm like, I cannot do that. Like, is this what yoga is really? But after completing my training and even going into this, advanced training, you really dive into the fact that that's not really what it's about. It's not about the headstand. And there's actually a beautiful poem that I've posted on my Instagram that's exactly that. While the picture of me is in a headstand, that is not the goal. That was just me, a proud moment that I was able to do that after the injury I went through. It was just such a proud moment. And actually my best friend took the picture, and it was on my birthday. It was like such a special moment. So I wanted to share that. And I think that's something that's important to me, to be able to share that it's really not all about getting into the perfect posture or looking the best. It's really how yoga feels for you.
So how do you said that the actual poses are one of 8 limbs. How do you, maybe you can't tell me this, how do you introduce or bring all of the other limbs into a class so that someone starts to learn what yoga is all about? Absolutely.
So in each one of my classes, I like to offer a different intention or a different learning opportunity, whether it be talking about the yamas or the niyamas, or whether it be talking about just anything really to do with yoga, to introduce them. I tend to like to offer the chakras within my practices, because I think the energy bodies and the chakra bodies are just such a wonderful way to incorporate into a practice. So that's something that I've been doing with my current studios. I haven't yet introduced that on the app, but I think that it's something that may benefit in the future if people are interested in that.
Okay. And are the videos that you're using, are they indicated that, for different levels of familiarity with yoga, or?
So the classes that I offer is yoga for everyone. Okay. There's optional modifications throughout.
Okay.
And I will always be moving with the pace of breath, and always offering for others to move with their own breath. So if you're not on pace with my breath, or vice versa, then that's okay too. There's a lot of opportunity to stand in stillness or sit in stillness and really come back to your breath and allow your heartbeat that may have escalated in a posture or in a series of postures. There's an opportunity to relax that heartbeat. Okay. So that's what I'm offering through Alumnor, is yoga for everyone.
Okay. I know in a lot of different yoga classes, obviously you mentioned in Hatha there's like 108 different poses. do you call them all by name and expect people to know that, or do you show them what they are?
Absolutely. No, I love that you mentioned that. So, obviously for those who know, I shouldn't say obviously, actually, that's not nice of me. For those that know, so yoga originated in India. So the actual names of each of the postures are in Sanskrit. And what I try to bring to each and every one of the postures is this in Sanskrit name to keep the practice of yoga as authentic to the origin or our origin of it as I possibly can. With that being said, we are here in Canada and we speak English. So not only do I say the Sanskrit name, I will also say the English name. So more often than not, you will know what posture it is based on that. However, some people might not know even based on that. So the type of cueing that I offer will get you exactly where you need to be, and you don't have to look at the screen to be able to determine that. That's definitely something that I work really hard on, is making sure that the cueing, you can have your eyes closed in my class. You don't have to look at the screen. You can really take that moment to yourself and be in your own practice and be in your own mind at that point. But yes, no, I love that question. Sanskrit is such a beautiful language, and I just love to even learn a different one of the asanas, because like I said, there's 180. There's quite a lot.
I know I've tried a few lessons online, or videos that I've got, and I plug them in and I'm trying to do things, but they're saying, move into this pose, move into that, and I've got to stop and look and figure out what it is.
Right.
And by then I've lost it because they've moved on to the next one.
Exactly. And you feel like you've lost your flow, and that's no fun for anyone. So that's why I find it so important to make sure that, especially if you're offering, like, dependent on the type of class that you're offering. I mean, because I've been to classes that all that is said is the posture name, nothing else. There's no mention of breath. There's no mention of the English name. It's simply the Sanskrit name, and that is it. And it can be quite intimidating and quite intense. That's why I think when you are offering, for instance, what I'm offering right now is yoga for everyone. It's important to adhere to that demographic, to adhere to exactly what you are calling your practice. You need to ensure that people are able to achieve exactly what you're guiding them into. And if you're not, then they're not going to want to come back to your class, because they're going to say, this isn't what I signed up for. And that's not fun or fair for anyone. And it wouldn't be fun for me to hear that kind of feedback either.
Yeah, that's fabulous. I'm happy to hear that. I'll have to check that out for sure.
Wonderful.
So is there anything else, anything you'd like to say to the members by way of introduction, or that I've missed maybe?
I think just that I'm excited to be able to see where this, this platform grows, and I will be excited to meet the members of the community. There are some things in the works that seem to be happening, again, once the weather aligns with us, to be able to meet with people, meet with anyone who signs up for the app, anyone who's interested in the app. I think we will be doing some outdoor sessions. So I'm really very much looking forward to that. And I always look forward to hearing from members. So if anyone ever wants to reach out to me, if you have any questions, any concerns, anything you want to see, really, you can reach out either to Alumnor directly, or feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. My handle is at Moon Salutation Yoga. So I always love to hear from anyone who has any interest in yoga, or maybe you're new to yoga and you just have some question that maybe you don't feel comfortable to ask somebody else. By all means, I love to hear from people, and I would love to hear from the community.
That's awesome. So you're going to do things outdoors. Where are you?
So I'm in Aurora myself. I
Okay.
know the ladies of Alumnor are in some are in the more Simcoe region.
Yeah.
So pretty local. I'm local. I'm happy to go to whatever region I'm needed. So I think with these outdoor events, they're probably going to keep them within maybe Georgina area, potentially Newmarket, Aurora. So we'll see what makes the most sense and where the actual members of the app will be, and probably we'll do some polling to determine where it would make most sense for everyone to meet up. But I'm lucky that I'm local, and because I know some of the other contributors are actually in the States, so
Yeah.
they won't
Well,
be able to come, unfortunately, but I can.
and I'm not really local either. I'm in Ottawa, so
Oh, okay, very good.
but
Hopefully everything's good over there.
yeah, we didn't have too much rain today, which is good.
It rained all day here.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. Thank you very much, Amanda. I really enjoyed chatting with you. It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much, Jackie. It was my honor and pleasure to be on this platform with you. And I look forward to hopefully speaking with you again soon.